Shana is often thought of as the weakest character in The Legend of Dragoon, so I decided I would beat the game with only her, because I hate myself. The full rules for this run are in the description, but the basics are that Shana is the only one that can do damage, and she cannot use her Dragoon form, because dragons are friends and Shana isn't allowed to have friends. So my plan for this run is to buy a ton of magic items and just have Shana spam them once everybody else is dead. You can find the beginning of this run in my Dart solo run, which I'll link in the description. But just to summarize, Shana doesn't join the party until you find her in hell in a prison, so there's a little bit of time where you only have Dart and then Dart and Lavitz. Given that I can't attack my own party members, I do my best to get Dart and Lavitz down to very low HP before we get to Frugal. And once Dart and Lavitz die, this battle is no big deal. I am noticing though that she's pretty frail at this point in the game, and she has to heal quite a bit in this battle. Shana's able to take out the guards with magic attacks, and Frugal goes down to 4 consumable items. Then in the snaky cave, I make sure to get the poison guard, because poison can be a run ender in the beginning of the game. It prevents you from recovering HP when you defend, or rather it cancels it out, because poison does 10% damage to your health every turn, and defending restores 10% HP. And with this new item in tow, the snake battle is no issue. Shana takes it out with a few well-placed magic items, and Dart steals the final kill, which marks a disturbing trend in this run. For millennia, men have been stealing the hard work of women and claiming it as their own. Watson and Crick claimed credit for Rosalind Franklin's discovery of DNA, Kanye West claimed that he's the reason Taylor Swift is famous, and Dart deals a little love tap to a monster and it looks like he killed it. But he didn't. Shana actually uses her special powers to finish it off. We'll be tracking every time a man takes credit for Shana's work in this run. Get ready, it happens a lot. So we head to Bale, grab some stuff, and then head on to Hoax, where we have our first real challenge of the run. You see, Dart and Lavitz are now missing the experience from 2 boss battles, and they have to do a battle all on their own without Shana. And I forgot to equip them with new shit in Bale, so they're super weak, and they fall to the elite Sandora assassin. So after sobbing for a full 3 hours because I'm a failure and I don't deserve to play video games anymore, I get Dart some defensive equipment, I go back and I beat that assassin poopy head. Kongol is also more difficult than a normal run. The characters get knocked out once or twice in this battle, but otherwise I make it through without a party wipe. Next we head on to the Nugget Bridge fight, which isn't too bad, but it does require a little bit of planning because the main commander of the Nugget Bridge fight can do a ton of physical damage. He also comes with 2 cronies, and when they all attack at once, and sometimes the commander gets 2 attacks in a row, they can do about 100 damage, which represents more than half of Shana's HP. But with careful planning and liberal use of magic items, they go down reasonably quickly. While we're here, we also grab the magic signet stone, which will be very useful because it's another action that doesn't do damage, letting us get people killed more easily. And then we head back to Bale, where we stock up on a ton of magic items because we have a bunch of hard fights coming up. I also grabbed some more healing potions just to make sure that I don't end up in a sticky situation. You know, because the green dragon lobs sticky goo at you. Like, it's literally sticky. And then Dart gives Shana a piggyback ride over to Volcano Banud, where we fight the next boss, Virage number 1. I've nicknamed him Laserhead because of his signature attack. If you watched my Dart solo run, you will know that this is the first battle in which Dart died. Dart was completely bodied by Laser Eye's arms, physical strength, and Laser Eye's laser eye, which does magical damage. And the other problem with this enemy, arguably a bigger problem, is that it casts both the confused status and the fear status. The confused status has some RNG attached to it. Your character will do one of 3 things when confused. They'll defend, attack themselves, or try to run away. Obviously, attacking themselves is the worst option. And the fear status doubles all damage done to your character and halves all damage that they do to the enemy. So I equip Shana with an accessory that prevents her from being inflicted with confuse, and I just hope I don't get inflicted with fear. However, only Laser Eye's body can inflict status effects. Their other 2 parts just do damage. So knowing this, I spend my first 2 turns casting multi-target magic, which gets rid of the arm. This has the added benefit of weakening the body as well, so that's my next target, and I spam it with a ton of single target magic. Unfortunately, Shana then gets stunned by the body, which I guess is another status effect that it can do. I didn't know that. And while she's stunned, the arm revives, but the fortunate thing about doing a single character run is that when you're stunned, you're going to be the only person getting hit. And taking damage from any kind of strike from the enemy removes the stun status, so the arm, which has revived, hits her, and she gets back up. And with some healing, she's able to get back into fighting shape. The arm goes down to the second multi-target spell, and it only takes one more Spear Frost to get rid of the body. And with the body dead, this fight becomes much more straightforward. There's no chance of status, so Shana just needs to overcome any damage done by the head and the arm, which of course revives again, which sucks, but it goes down pretty quickly to 2 more multi-target magic spells. And with just a few more single target spells to Laser Eye's head, it goes down, but not before Dart steals credit for Shana's work, dealing the final blow. So at this point, I head back to Bale and restock some healing items and, more importantly, a ton of magic attack items. And then we fight Talonflame, and it can do literally nothing to Shana, so enough said. Then I head to the Poison Forest, where I avoid drinking water because in this game, hydration is the enemy. And it's at this point that I face my next challenge, Graham. In preparation, I re-equip my Poison Guard, and I hope that he doesn't inflict the fear status. Now, this is one of Shana's harder battles. Graham has a bunch of things he can do. He can cast magic, which will do almost nothing to Shana, but he can also do a ton of physical damage. But the dragon is what really makes this fight difficult. The dragon can cast the poison status, as I mentioned before, or it can cast the fear status. But there's one more thing that makes this battle difficult. If you attack the dragon, it increases its attack power, so all of the multi-target earth spells that I have are not that useful. I'd love to be able to hurt both Graham and the dragon at the same time, but that will lead the battle to be much harder because of those attack rises. And I'm pretty sure that the status-inflicting goo that the dragon shoots at you is in fact physical damage. That makes things even harder. So I didn't know any of this when I started this battle, so I start using multi-target earth magic, which does a lot of damage. However, I eventually get overwhelmed by the physical damage that both the dragon and Graham can do, and this is where I experience my next death. So am I actually going to be able to do this with just Shana and no Dragoon? Granted, she doesn't have a Dragoon yet, but you know what I made. So in the next battle, fortunately, Graham kills both Dart and Lavitz very quickly, and I realize that I have a bunch of pellets saved up. Those are earth elemental magic, so they'll hit Graham super effectively, and only Graham, so they won't raise his dragon's attack. I do have to heal stall a bit waiting for a miss, but I soon get it, as the dragon throws its icy-looking ball of goo towards me, and I'm not even sure what status effect that one causes, but it misses, and I hit Graham with a third pellet, and he goes down. From here on out, I know I have this battle in the bag. But now I get overconfident because the dragon stuns me, and then right away casts the fear status on me. Fortunately, I was at almost full health, so I'm still doing okay, and I heal off that fear status and finish the battle with more earth magic. And this dragon gives us a downburst, which is a powerful wind magic attack that I will be saving for later. So now Lavitz shows us exactly how much he likes shiny shaven balls, and Shana, very sick of hearing about this, pretends to go into a coma and leaves the party. But fortunately, and this is the only time I would ever say this, we have Rose. I've purposely left Rose out of the party so that she can gain experience. I explained this a little bit more in my Dart solo run, so I'll put a link to that right up here. Which brings us to Drake, who goes down very quickly, and Shana wasn't in the party, so we're just not going to talk about this battle too much since it was boring. Same with the Shirley battle, it's scripted. But interestingly, we do get a bandit ring from the Drake battle, which is a rare drop. It only drops 2% of the time. Unfortunately, we're not really going to use it because we don't need bandit rings. We only have girls in this game, specifically Shana. It's good, we got a thing. So then we go back to Lohan, cure Shana, and she becomes the White Silver Dragoon. And that's the last time we'll see her Dragoon spirit glow for the rest of the game because we're not using it. And then we enter the fighting tournament, which I purposely lose because it's scripted and everyone is cheating. Funny aside, I did not realize this was the case. I thought you had to win all of the battles before Lloyd or else you just lost the game. The first guy gets disqualified for using poison, the second has a chronic illness that worsens, and the third trips over his own armor. The fourth, the bow guy, also gets disqualified for using poison, and I don't know why they didn't just come up with a fourth thing. And then there's Lloyd, whom you can't win against anyway, so you might as well just lose. Then we head to Helena Prison, where the next boss battle is Django. He's unchained, y'all. At this point, Shana's actually starting to get a little bit overpowered, and this battle goes goes off without a hitch. The only special thing that Django does is inflict confusion, so I equip Shana with the panic ring and we go to town. He dies after 5 spinning gales. But now we're on to Frugal, who was actually a big roadblock in my run with Dart. I'm not actually expecting too much of a challenge. Before we even get to Frugal, I have to fight a bunch of generic guards, and while that's not too difficult, there is one enemy in those groups that is a little bit challenging, namely the Foul Fighters. When they get to low health, they do 2 things. They inflict the fear status and they double their physical damage, making them quite dangerous, and they come in groups of 3 with 2 Foul Fighters and 1 Helena guard. What this means is that if I use multi-target attack spells, they're going to get a huge boost all at once, which is bad. Granted, I get through them pretty quickly, but I have to use up a ton of my consumable magic items, namely my single target ones. So by the time I got to Frugal, I didn't realize that I didn't have that many attack items left. But okay, let's back up a little bit and talk about why this battle is annoying. Each of Frugal's pets has an individual attack and an attack that they can do with Frugal. His bird Rodriguez will basically double his damage, and his doggo will cast the Confused status, which is particularly bad in this battle. And Frugal himself, when he's first attacked, will use a power-up item, which increases both his attack and his defense power by about 50%.
I'm in danger!
Oh, I bet you can guess what happened the first time I went into this fight. I got completely overwhelmed by all of the different physical attacks that Frugal and his minions can do. And I died. But I decided, hey, let's try that again. So I went to the merchant that's inside the jail, grabbed a bunch of magic items just to see if maybe I had messed it up and it wasn't just that I wasn't able to do it. And honestly, my second try was even worse. I die within the first 20 turns. So okay, maybe that was just RNG, and I try again, and it's like 10 turns this time. So I go back to Lohan and buy some more spinning gales. That's a wind spell that will hit Frugal for super effective damage. But then I remember something. Martell is available on disc 1, and if you have 10 Stardust, you can trade them to her for the physical ring. That will increase your HP by 50% and might give Shana the energy that she needs to just get through the first part of the battle. If she kills the dog quickly, she doesn't even need the panic guard. But there is a problem, which is that Martell is in Bale, and when I go back to the map, there's no direct route to Bale like there was before. But I'm a resilient human, so I go back through the Poison Forest, through Volcano Volute, through the marshlands, and out, and then I realize that I can't get back to Bale. They completely close it off once the Helena prison quest is available.
Why are you locking your doors to the public? Why? Tell us the reason. Why?
By the way, if this video gets 1,000 likes, I am going to start streaming these challenges live. So hit that like button if you like to watch me suffer. But then one of my viewers saves me. If you go to the fairgrounds in Lohan, you can purchase some tickets that let you get a total vanishing. And I head back to the Frugal fight, I kill Rodriguez with a total vanishing, and everything goes to plan. The dog goes down first, and then Frugal very soon after. Lavitz, being the sexist pig that he is, having just spent the entire battle lying on the ground like a lazy piece of dog poop, gets up off of the ground to steal the final blow from Shapoopy. But Karma is a bitch, and so is Lloyd, who uses his magical feminism rod to send Lavitz back to the Shadow Realm. Hope you learn your lesson, you misogynistic pig. Kongol is the next battle, and I forgot to hit record, but he went down in literally 2 hits, so who cares? And Emperor Dole is the final battle of Disc 1, and he is pitiful. Most of his attacks are magical, and by this point, Shana has so much magic defense that she shrugs off everything. So he goes down, Grandpa joins the party, and we're off to Disc 2, in which the first fight is with Mappy, who is pitifully easy. He steals Dart's Dragoon Spirit, but hey, Dart wasn't using it anyway. He doesn't need it. I do equip Shana with a bunch of new equipment in Donau, and I do something else here. I switch in Haschel. I'll tell you why I did that in a little bit. But the next boss is Virage 2, and this was a little bit of an obstacle in my Dart run. It has an instant death attack that will go off if you stay in battle for too long, or maybe if you're just unlucky, which I sometimes am, like last time. But Shana blazes right through this. 2 Dark Rains takes care of all of the appendages, and 2 Translights takes care of the head, making this the quickest I have ever done this battle. How dare you, Dart? Shana's been slaving all day over a hot battlefield, and this is how you treat her? You pig. Next, one Rave Twister takes care of the bandit mini-boss fight, and then we head on to Garich and Mappy. And this battle is the reason that I put Haschel in the party. I need him to be at 1 HP because he's a required character in this battle. Last time I did this battle with Dart, it took him forever to die, and ultimately he died to Mappy's instant death attack, which gives me a little bit of pause, but I girder my loins, whatever that means. Haschel and Dart die, and Shana uses a couple of translights on Mappy, which kill him before he can use his instant death attack. Then 2 translights and 2 Rave Twisters take out Garich, making this an extremely easy fight. And notably, Haschel takes the final blow here, once again taking credit for all of Shana's hard work. And now we head back to town to fight Linus 2. In a casual run, this battle can be a huge roadblock, but with Shana, shit's fine. One thing I do notice though is that Linus mainly uses physical attacks in this battle with Shana. I'm not sure why. Maybe it has to do with her reacting to the fact that Shana's using magical attacks. But I put this in my pocket for later, specifically for when I do a run with Kongol. We'll have to sort of see how this all shakes out. But yeah, she goes down with 9 magic attacks. I do all the exposition-y stuff, and then I make sure to save, because last time when I did this section, I died and I had to go back to do all the exposition again. The first 3 skeletons go fine. They go down to 1 dancing ray, and then we get to the fight where I died last time. The real final boss of the game, Lumpy Space Princess. But fortunately, I remembered to prevent bewitching status, so LSP is cheesy and goes down easy. How you like them lumps? So going into the triple Lumpy Space Princess fight, I'm feeling pretty confident. There is no way I could possibly die in this battle. I've got it in the bag. It's gonna go really well, and well, I was wrong. It turns out that when the Lumpy Space Princess get to half health, they start to go crazy. Not only do they cast the Bewitch status, but they also cast the Stun status, and they can stun lock you, and they do. And I die. But I know there's a way around this. So my Dancing Ray does about 436 damage with the amount of times that I'm pressing X to power it up. The LSPs have 800 HP. That means I'm doing more than 50% HP with my Dancing Rays. So I actually formulate a little strategy here. I press the button a little bit less to do under 400 HP, and then they're not at half health, meaning they're not going to stun me. With the second Dancing Ray, I go ham and try to get over 400 HP of damage, and it works. They go down. 1 Dancing Ray and 1 Translight finishes off the Ghost Knights, which means I now lose Shuba for the 3rd time in the run. But fortunately, this section doesn't have any boss battles, so we reunite with Slurpee and head over to Linus 2, which is not really a problem, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Linus does not stand a chance. So now we get a boat, which is not our boat, but somebody else's boat, and we head on to Disc 3. Shana has a little temper tantrum on the roof, but she's fine, and we go to fight the wolf thing, which is no problem. It goes down very quickly to magic attacks, but on our return to Milsasau, Shana's cravings for pumpkin spice lattes grow too great, and she leaves her dragoon spirit to go pursue delicious coffee-flavored goodness. But that means that the run is over. We've completed the Legend of Dragoon. Just kidding. So Miranda takes Shana's place, becoming the white-silver dragoon, which of course doesn't matter, because she's not going to use it. But we head on to the magical city Cadessa to get the Dragon Block staff. And along the way, we meet a bunch of new friends who hate us. But in any case, the Dragon Block staff, which is usually a huge roadblock in a casual run, is an absolute pushover with Miranda. It goes down in 14 attacks, but the funny thing is that it literally can't do any sustained damage to Miranda. I have her equipped with a therapy ring, which restores 10% of her HP every single turn, and she's healing off every single point of damage that this monster does to her. Kinda hilarious. I've died so many times to this guy in a normal run. And while I'm here, I take care of Virage 3 for some extra experience. Basically, after he gets 10 turns, he just self-destructs. There's no reason to attack. In Immortal Dragon Mountain, I also make sure to grab the Dragon Helm, which will give 50% more HP as well as 50 more magic attack. And this battle made me laugh so hard. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to guess how many magic attacks it took to take him down. Put your answer in the comments. I was shocked that it only took 5 attacks to take him down, but But I lied to you. It actually only took 4. But I lied to you again. It only took 3 magic attacks to kill this gargantuan boss. Again, a boss that is usually a huge roadblock because you can't use dragoons and it does have a bunch of HP and powerful magic attacks. But maybe Dart senses that Shana is slacking off now because he takes the kill away from her. Miranda did all the work. Dart just lied there. Hey, that reminds me of sex. So far in this run, the early game was a little bit difficult because of Shana's frailty, but the mid game is super easy because of the huge magic attack stat that she has. The rest of Disc 3 is similarly easy. The Abominable Snowman and Lloyd just can't do anything to Miranda. And Dart tries to steal the Lloyd final strike, but that kind of fails. Do I count it? He still tried. I'm counting it. I also make sure to fight the Polter Armor, one of the most punishing bosses in a casual playthrough, and it goes down to 4 attacks, getting me both a Soul Eater, which obviously I will not be using because it goes on Dart. Editing Tantacles here, I just realized I could have used the Soul Eater to guarantee Dart's death at the beginning of every single battle. Definitely going to do that next time I play. But more importantly, it gets me the Smoke Ball, so now I don't have to deal with the RNG of running away. Also, who doesn't love balls? Then Zeke reveals that he has gonorrhea, and Rose is horrified that after 11,000 years, she now has to get tested. And then we head on to Disc 4. I make sure to grab the Power Down item in the desert, and you will definitely see why later. I'm glad I got this item. In Ulara, I equip everybody with magical greaves for their solo battles, and we move on to the magical city Aglis. I make sure to get the Psych Bomb X, as that's going to do a ton of damage in later battles, and Kraken goes down easy. Which brings us to Xenobatos, the boss battle of which was a big roadblock in my last run. Just a reminder, the guy on the left casts an instant death spell, so you pretty much have to have the talisman equipped. And he casts it even when he dies, so you can't just kill him quickly to avoid it. The one in the middle, I don't care about, it just does physical damage. But the one on the right can cast a Petrify spell. But I determined in my Dart run that that is usually only in response to magic attacks. However, Shana's magic is about a bajillion times stronger than Dart, so it's possible that I can just beat her very quickly with Psych Bomb X, and then I don't have to worry about the Petrify status. After using the Power Down item on her, a Psych Bomb X just completely kills her, and as an added bonus, it hits the middle guy for huge damage as well, killing him, which means that all that is left is the guy on the left, the guy who casts instant death, which is all he does for the rest of the battle, wasting his turns because I have the talisman equipped. It doesn't affect me. And he goes down. Shockingly easy battle compared to the Dart run. And we head to Zackwell, who also goes down really easy. Now I have a problem. I'm going to the tree next, and there are no magic items for purchase in the tree. Having never done this run before, I'm not certain what I should get, but I basically keep 3 healing fogs and I buy a ton of magical attack items. Fortunately, I've kept a bunch of the powerful attack items that I got from bosses, so I don't have to fill up that much, but I do fill up as much as I can. I do make a slight misplay here, and I don't sell my attack all enemies magic items in favor of single target items. Because all enemy attack items do about 2/3 as much damage as the single enemy attack items, it's much more efficient to just get the single enemy attack items unless you're going to be fighting a ton of multi-target battles. And there are very few multi-target battles on the moon. But I eventually head back and head up the tree to the Caterpillar battle. I equip the Panic Guard, and this one takes almost no time at all, although I make sure to kill the first 2 phases with just normal attacks. The reason for that is that I want to save as many of my magic items as possible. And then after it dies, we head on to all the solo battles. Obviously, Miranda's goes easily, although again, I try to use only Bow Strikes and Psych Bomb. And Kongol and Hashel's battles also go off without a hitch. Because Rose is so overpowered, her section with Dart is pretty easy as well. Albert does his section, Meru does her section, which is probably the hardest one because Meru has been in my party the entire time not gaining experience, but she does fine. Then Virage 4 goes down easy. easy. Dart's dad goes down easy. Pretty expected. Oh, by the way, after we kill Dart's dad, Dart again tries to steal the final blow. But now we are on to Melbu Frama. If you've made it this far in the video, do me a favor. Number 1, like the video, and number 2, come join my Discord, where we talk about these runs, I give video updates, and you can give suggestions about what you want to see next. The link is in the description-doo. Melbu Frama in its first phase casts the Petrify status, and so I, of course, forget to equip the D-Stone ring on Miranda, and my first attempt ends in failure. But I remember it for the second run, and this time I remembered to save after defeating Zeeg, so we are off to an auspicious start. The first and second phases fall very easily to Miranda's magic. And so maybe you're thinking now that, hey, this is gonna be a walk in the park, bada bing, bada boom, run through it. But unfortunately what happens is that on the third phase, I run out of magic items. The item cap of 32 has betrayed me, and Melbu Frama with his gargantuan 42,000 HP just has too much bulk. And here is where I realize exactly how much I have misplayed. Because the only thing I can do here to do damage is use physical attacks, but this phase of Melbu Frama can block physical attacks. It can also block items and Dragoon, but I'm not using Dragoon and I have no more magic items, so yeah. And I've made one other mistake, which is that I equipped Miranda with the detonation arrow, which isn't a misplay in terms of not being able to complete the battle, but it is rather annoying because it has an additional animation that lasts for about 5 seconds, meaning every time I attack, we don't just get ha, we get ha, boom. Thanks, I hate it. And to add insult to injury, Melbu Frama does in fact command block Miranda's attacks, meaning I have to spend a bajillion years defending. But eventually we move on to phase 4, and I realize that his HP isn't even at the 25% mark. So this is where the true suffering begins. He really can't kill me, his attacks aren't strong enough, but all I can do is a piddly amount of damage. When we got to this phase, I went and got a drink. I was kind of over it.
That one didn't count.
But then I came back, and for the next hour and a half, I intermittently hit the attack and defend buttons, and eventually, Melbu Frama goes down. But not until Dart steals the final blow one more time. Again, even though Miranda did literally all of the work. But there's one more thing that we have to do, and that's start up our solo character tier list. Dart goes into the B tier because he can't use his best weapon on the final boss without getting petrified, and Shana goes into the B tier just above Dart. Honestly, she came so close to making it into the A tier, but her early game is quite difficult. And more importantly, I spent 2 hours killing this final boss because there weren't enough items to get her good damage output. So that definitely knocks her down a peg. But her mid game was super easy. When you have access to a ton of magic items, enough to kill things fast, it's perfect. Let me know what run you'd like to see next in the comments, either from this game or another one. Bye-bye.